What's going on, guys? Bears with Knives here, and today I'm back again with another knife review, and today I'm going to be talking about the Real Steel Luna. Now, this is a very interesting knife from Real Steel, and I'm super excited to be checking this knife out. I've wanted to get this knife for a long time, but I just haven't been able to, and I just want to thank a really good friend of mine right off the bat. He's been a long time supporter of the channel, and he's given me some other stuff in the past, and he gave me this knife to check out, so I'm super thankful. He knows who he is, so I appreciate that a lot. So let's go ahead and talk about this knife. So this is the Blade HQ exclusive Luna in the carbon fiber here. Super nice carbon fiber. So there we go. Now let me give you some general stats. So the price on this knife is anywhere between $90 to $100. This particular one in the carbon fiber is about 90 bucks. But they do offer a different version in full titanium handles. So depending on which one you're looking at $90 to $95, and then on the highest price, you're looking at about 100 bucks. So there's the price. Now, the overall length on this knife is 6.625 inches overall. Your blade length is 2.75. Your handle length is 3.75. Your weight is 1.42 ounces. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed those general stats. Now I can finally talk about this knife, and first thing, I just gotta discuss how beautiful this carbon fiber is. Just look at that. Isn't that very nice? Some carbon fiber looks cheap and it doesn't look good, but this carbon fiber looks great. I love it. It looks super classy, super nice. You can see, hopefully, the individual layers of the carbon fiber in there. Super nicely done. Love it a lot. So, you also have a little lanyard hole on here in case you would like to throw a lanyard on here. And then you have your pocket clip on the back, which is a deep carry pocket clip with recessed screws, which is very nice. And you have your back spring here, and it's very nicely polished. Looks very nice. They didn't need to do that. They didn't need to polish it like they did, but it's a nice detail that I appreciate a lot. So there we go. Now, this knife is a slip joint knife here, and you can open it by the nail nick, which is on either side, and it basically runs the entire length of the blade, so you got plenty of room to be able to grab that. So you pop this knife open here, and you have your blade. Take a look at that blade. Don't mind my fingerprints on it, but look at that blade. It's really nice. I love the shape of the blade. Great look on the blade. So I like the blade, and the blade is made out of N690 steel, which is a popular Italian steel. But N690 steel right there, it has, I would say, a little bit less edge retention than VG10, but it's along the same lines. Not a bad steel. I'll take it for what it is. So there we go. Now, the blade is a flat ground blade, full flat ground basically, if you don't count the nail nick. Super nicely done. As I said, it's got a sharpening choil down here as well, which is awesome. Makes sharpening a little bit easier. And let me just cover how thin this blade is. Take a look at that. This knife is so thin. It's amazing how thin this is. And let me give you a couple other comparisons. This is the knife next to an Ontario Rat Model 2, right there. And then this is the knife next to another Real Steel. This is the Real Steel G-Slip Knife Center exclusive. So there's a little comparison for you. Hopefully you can see that these knives are very similar in terms of blade style and the nail nick on there. And there's a little comparison in terms of stock thickness, and I'll compare it also next to the Rat 2. So hopefully you'll be able to see that this knife has seriously thin blade stock, which is awesome. This knife is a monster at slicing. I mean, the blade stock is so thin, and it's razor thin behind the edge, and it's basically full flat ground. So everything combined, this thing is a slicing machine. This thing is on the levels of a Spyderco Chaparral in terms of sliciness. I've talked about how much I love the Spyderco Chaparral because of how slicey it is. This is the next closest thing to the Spyderco Chaparral. This thing is incredibly slicey. I love that. And then, this is a slip joint knife, as I said, and it also has a half stop. It's not necessarily a half stop, it's more of like a 3/4 stop, but it's still nice to have. It's just a nice safety feature to have a half stop on a knife, so I greatly appreciate that. And then you have a nice little I guess you could call it not necessarily a choil, but you have some extra tang of the blade here with some jimping to grab onto, which is nice. And that is going to lead directly into the ergonomics. And the ergonomics on this are very nice. You have a relatively simple handle, not much going on, and it's very comfortable in hand. There's only one little problem, which I'll talk about later, but it's very comfortable in hand, and I like it a lot. The spring on this knife is not the strongest spring I've ever felt on a slip joint knife, but it's good enough. And then you have that half stop in there, so you're going to be safe. And then also you rest your finger on this tang of the blade, so this knife is most likely never going to close on you, so you'll be perfectly safe. So ergonomics are good, everything combined, you're safe, it's comfortable, really good. Now, let's talk about the carry of this knife, and this knife carries like a dream. It's very small when it's closed, it's very compact, it's extremely thin as well. Let me compare that to the Rat 2 real quick. Hopefully you can see that this knife is substantially thinner than the Rat 2, which is not a thick knife. So this knife is great for carry. It's super lightweight in the carbon fiber version at 1.42 ounces, and it's got that deep carry pocket clip with recessed screws, so you just slide this in your pocket and you forget about it. I mean, whether you're carrying this in slacks, regular pants, whatever, this thing is a dream to carry. It's fantastic. I love it. So the carry on this is great. Next thing I love is the class factor, the classiness of this knife. With that carbon fiber and this blade, come on, man, that just looks so classy. It's so nice. It's definitely a gentleman's knife, so if you're wearing a suit, whatever, going to a wedding, this is going to be a great knife to take because it is tremendously classy. Then the next thing is that it's also people friendly. This isn't a very scary knife. It's got the carbon fiber, it looks nice, it's a slip joint, which I don't know why, but slip joints just always make people less scared. Just, because you have to open it with two hands, it just kind of reminds people of a knife Granddad had. So it's just very people friendly. You're not going to scare a lot of people with it. You're safe in the office, with this. So very, very nice. Then the last thing I want to talk about with this knife is the fit and finish. The fit and finish is so great. This knife came perfectly centered out of the box. No blade play in any direction at all. And just the way everything is done is so nice. The sharpening choil is actually sharpened all the way to the choil. It's very nicely done. The blade is well finished. The blade came sharp. The back spring as well. Take a look at the back spring. It's so well fitted, it's so nice. And like I said, they crowned the spine. Well, they didn't crown the spine, but it's so flat that it's completely smooth, no sharp edges at all. Just, this knife is so well finished, and I love it. And this knife, like I said, is $90, but with this fit and finish, it feels like a $200 knife. It's just so well finished, and I love that. And the next thing as well, the last thing in the good, is this knife is very legal as well. This knife has a 2.75-inch blade, so an under 3-inch blade. So if you live in places where you can't have a blade over 3 inches, this is perfectly legal, and it's a slip joint as well. So it's perfectly legal, makes it legal in places like the UK, things like that. So no matter where you live, basically, you're most likely going to be able to carry this knife. With the combination of it being legal and very people-friendly and easy to carry, this knife, you can take this thing just about anywhere, and it's great. It's great. So, there we go. So, to recover all the good, it's got a nice lanyard hole, beautiful, nice carbon fiber, fantastic fit and finish on the entire knife, awesome, deep carry pocket clip, super nice to carry. Easy to open, extremely thin, slicey blade, good steel for what it is, very comfortable ergonomically, very safe, legal, just great. Great, people-friendly as well. So there we go, that wraps up all the good. Now let's talk about things I don't like about this knife. So first thing is that this knife is not fully ambidextrous, which is a little odd to me. And what I mean by that is that this knife is a nail nick, and nail nicks are inherently ambidextrous, because they can be opened by anyone from either side. Especially like this, you can just open it from either side, because the nail nick is on both sides. And then it's a slip joint, so you don't have to worry about backlocks or anything like that. So this knife should be completely ambi, but it's not completely. And the reason why it's not completely is the pocket clip. The pocket clip is right hand only. Hopefully you can see this. You can see that there's a cutout on the back here, which is not on this side. And there's no adjustable hardware in the clip at all. So you can't swap the clip to the other side, which just seems like a seriously missed opportunity. This knife would be fully ambidextrous if you could swap the clip. So it just seems a little odd to me. Next thing regarding the clip is that it is a hot spot in the ergonomics. I said that the ergonomics are good, except my one problem. And my one problem is the ergonomics. Right here, kind of off the top of the clip, I get a little bit of a hot spot in my hand. It's not that bad, but I can still feel it sometimes. Just barely, I can feel it. So I get a little bit of a hot spot off the back of the clip. Not the worst thing ever, but just something to mention. And then probably the last thing is the nail nick. And this is something that Real Steel has continued to do wrong, in my opinion. I had the same issue when I reviewed the Real Steel G-Slip. If you have not seen this review, go look at it. Go check it out. But my biggest problem, or one of my biggest problems with the Real Steel G-Slip, is the nail nick. The nail nick is really nice. You can see on both of them that it extends almost the entire length of the blade, which is nice, so it gives you a lot of opportunity to grab it. But the thing that is wrong with both of them is that they're extremely shallow. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this cutout is not deep at all. And if you compare it to something like a case knife, if you have a case knife, go get your case knife right now and use the nail nick. You will notice that on case knives, the nail nick tends to be very deep in the blade, very deeply cut out. So that way you can really get your finger in there and get enough grip in the nail nick to get the blade open. But this knife and the Real Steel G-Slip has the same problem, is that it's just very shallow. There's barely any steel cut out. So a lot of times, even if I grabbed it here or down here, I found myself popping out. And especially because I don't keep my fingernails very long, I find this very easy to slip out of the nail nick. So that's probably my biggest problem with it, is that just the nail nick is really inconsistent, and you can't really pinch the blade open, because there's not enough blade to really grab onto. I mean, you can do it, but it's not a good experience. So that's really my only problem with this knife. That's a major problem to me, is that the nail nick is just a pain. And it's something that they need to continue to work on, is that the G-Slip did it and this knife also did it. So I think that's my only problem with it. Final thoughts is that this is a really, really good knife. I like this knife a lot. I love the look of it. I love how it carries. I love the fit and finish. It's super classy and people friendly. This thing is a slicing machine. It's super comfortable. It's very legal. It's a very, very nice knife. I like this better than the G-Slip. I do. This knife is slightly more expensive than the G-Slip, but I like this knife a lot more. I do. I like the size a little bit more, and I just like the Luna a little bit more than the G-Slip. But these two honestly go really well together. I would say this is more of your everyday carry in the G-Slip, and then this is more of your classy, more discreet carry, something like that. More, special occasion carry. So if you really want like a good EDC combination, both of these are a great option. I would definitely call the G-Slip more of like your everyday user, but both of these are great knives. But like I said, I think I slightly prefer the Luna over the G-Slip. But they're both great knives and they go well together. And like I said, it's a great knife. I recommend it a lot. It's really good. Just like I said, my only problem is that nail nick. And I just want them to fix it. They just need to learn from case knives, and they just need to make that cutout a little deeper. Just because I just find that there's not enough material to grab onto. But otherwise, this is a fantastic knife. I like it a lot, and I definitely recommend it. So, Real Steel Luna, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.